Okay, in this last set of questions in TestNav, another set of cluster questions. This time there are three different pieces of information for us to look at in the questions. Diagram 1, we can see here, is showing us the intertidal zone at a rocky tide pool. So think about a place where there's a rocky shoreline that leads down into the ocean. Table 1 is titled Common Organisms Found in a Rocky Tide Pool, and it has their phylum and some characteristics. And diagram 2 is showing a possible food web of the organisms found in this tide pool. Okay, question number 29. We're to use table 1 to figure out this question. The sea snail is most related to A, the sea anemone, B, the shore crab, C, the sea star, or D, the octopus. So we're looking for sea snail. So let's see, the sea snail is a mollusca. It's mobile, so it can move. It's an omnivore, so it eats plants and animals. And the resistance to drying out is medium. All right, so our choices are, is it related to the sea anemone, which is a cnidarian, the shore crab, which is an arthropod, the sea star, which is an echinoderm, or the octopus, which is a mollusca. So the sea snail is in the phylum Mollusca, and so is the octopus. So your answer is octopus. Number 30. Which factor contributes most to the vertical distribution of organisms? So the vertical. Is it A, preventing drying out, B, moving with the tide, C, obtaining food, or D, finding mates? So we're talking about vertical distribution. So let's see what's even listed here for vertical distribution. Only exposed to the air during low tides, regularly submerged and exposed with the changing tide, remains dry, only submerged in high tide, or constant exposure to the sun dampened by ocean spray. So again, our choices were preventing drying out, moving with the tide, obtaining food, or finding mates. Now, there's nothing here about obtaining food or finding mates, so I would take those out, and then we're left with preventing drying out and moving with the tide. So if this is where they stay, then I would, if I were doing this, I would say that all of these are probably have something to do with preventing drying out. Number 31. Which change would most likely occur if migratory shorebirds arrived and preyed only on the octopus population? So this is something that we talked about in ecology earlier this year, is the ripple effect that occurs in a food web when one population in the food web is affected. So, which change would most likely occur if migratory shorebirds arrived and preyed on the octopus population? A, there would be a decrease in the sea star population. B, an increase in the limpet population. C, an increase in the sea snail population. Or D, a decrease in the sea anemone population. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Okay, so the migratory birds have come in. They're gobbling up all of the octopi, and this is where there's a problem with the link in one of these food chains. So I'll read back over the choices while we're looking here. A decrease in the sea star. Now, if you look, the sea star and the octopus, they don't even seem to be in the same chain. So I'd take A out. An increase in the limpet population. Again, the limpet is all the way over here. If you just track your arrows, they're not even in the same chain. C, an increase in the sea snail, so hard to say, an increase in the sea snail population. Well, sea snails are feasted on by the octopi, so if they're gone, maybe they would increase. And the last choice, a decrease in the sea anemone. So again, if we look, it really looks like their two little worlds don't intersect. So our best answer to this would be C, an increase in the sea snail population. Okay, with this one you have drop-down boxes for your selections. 32. Disturbances within an ecosystem can interrupt the stability and balance of the organisms within that ecosystem. The primary limiting factor in the low tide zone and a tide pool ecosystem would be, so what would be the main thing that could lead to competition or to possibly reduce population size in this tide pool? Food, water, or space? Now, this is one of the questions that I think it's the one that I looked up that what the VDOE said was the answer I didn't agree with. So to me, the low tide zone, based upon the information that they gave to us, it didn't say anything about food. It didn't say anything about space, but it did mention about the water. So I would go with water. If the sea snail population were removed, then the acorn barnacle, shore crab, or mussel population would increase. So let me go back to diagram 1. I don't think it was diagram 1 I wanted. Diagram 2. So if the sea snail, gosh, I have to say this one over, population were removed, this guy, then which population would increase? So I'm going to go backwards. Acorn barnacle, possibly they're in the same chain. Shore crab, shore crab eat the sea snail, so they just lost a food source. And then the mussel, they're not in the same food chain. So the acorn barnacle is prey to the sea snail. So if it's gone, then your acorn barnacle will be able to flourish. Part of a food chain found in a rocky tide pool is shown. Phytoplankton is eaten by zooplankton, is eaten by shore crab, is eaten by sea star. If the phytoplankton captures 1,500 kilojoules of energy from the sun, about how much energy will be available to the sea star? So remember, we start here, 1,500, and then as we move, we are taking 10%. So we have 1,500. I'm going to shave off a 0 to 150. I'm going to shave off a 0 to 15, and then I'm going to move again to 1.5. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I'm trying. So answer is A, 1.5. So again, if you, let's say they didn't have a nice little number like 1,500, you can always use your Desmos calculator.